Today we're going to be taking a look at the Adventure NEO 4 by Cannondale. Now this e-bike is priced at $2,500 and it's something that reminds me a lot of the Pace 500 or the Level 2 by Avonton, both of which we've reviewed on this channel. This is a cruiser e-bike, so let's get into it. Now I've got to be honest, right off the bat I was a little bit skeptical looking at this bike. It is priced a little bit higher than some other e-bikes that you might consider it on paper to be comparable with. But after really checking out this bike, it does have some features and some qualities that set it apart from the competition. First and foremost, the build quality of this bike really impressed me. I've tried a bunch of different e-bikes, reviewing them here in the shop, and let me just say, a lot of e-bikes have that kind of cheaper, made in China kind of quality to them, whereas this bike, made by Cannondale, definitely didn't give me that impression. I was under the impression that Cannondale definitely spent some hard time really thinking about the rider experience, and the actual build, the actual body of this bike feels very sturdy. It feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap whatsoever. You feel like when you're riding this bike, like you're actually sitting on $2,500 worth of bike. And that's part of the reason too, I think, why this bike doesn't have a throttle like a lot of other e-bikes. Cannondale's a company who really is first a biking company and an e-bike company second. It doesn't have a throttle, it's pedal assist, but this bike, the geometry, the way that it's situated, very much makes you want to actually pedal and you feel like you're riding a very comfortable bike. And despite the fact that the body and the components on this bike feel so solid and so sturdy, it's still really a light e-bike. The small medium version of this bike is only 48 pounds, whereas that medium large is only 57 pounds. As far as e-bikes go, that is a lighter e-bike than most other kind of budget e-bikes on the market. And when we actually look at those components and the specs on this e-bike, it's clear to me that Cannondale's not trying to play catch up with the rest of the industry, trying to worry about bells and whistles, all these gadgets on these newer e-bikes. Instead, what they're trying to do is really focus on those core components and do them well. Make sure that your rider experience at the base level is so solid and sound. The hydraulic brakes had a lot of stopping power and they're definitely a high quality brake. The actual motor on this bike as well is a mid-drive, which definitely makes it more responsive than most other e-bikes with their kind of rear hub motors. The motor on this only has 250 watts worth of power supplied by a 400 watt-hour battery, however. That is one thing though that I kind of wish that they had done a little bit different, is maybe had a slightly bigger motor in this bike. There was definitely enough power to get me up any hill that I wanted to go up, but I definitely still had to pedal really hard. And that's kind of one of those things where a lot of people looking for an e-bike are looking for something that they don't have to pedal if they don't want to. This e-bike, let me be clear, is going to make it very easy for you to ride wherever you want to ride, but you're still going to have to put in a little bit of work. That 250 watt motor is not going to just simply carry you, and on top of that, you don't have the throttle option on this bike. With that said, Cannondale claims that this battery can go for up to 65 miles, which is quite a bit of range. That's more than most other budget e-bikes, and that's going to be able to get you a few days of riding more than likely before you even have to worry about charging it. I think that's awesome that they've accomplished this and that they've done it on such a light frame. Lastly, I touched on this in the beginning, but the actual way that this bike sits you, the rider experience, is really unparalleled by most other budget e-bikes. This feels like such a smooth ride, a solid ride. Everything feels stable, sturdy, and quality. The back sweep cruiser bars, everything about this just makes your riding experience on this bike a lot of fun. All in all, if I'm being as objective as possible, Cannondale really impressed me with their quality, but I don't necessarily think that this is the perfect bike for everybody. We have a segment of customers that come into our shop, and what they're looking to do with their bike is maybe ride it on the weekends, really throttle it around. They're not trying to get a ton of exercise as much as just have fun with their bike, right? This is very much made for riding around a city, and you're going to have to get a little bit of exercise. There's no throttle, and the motor's going to help you, but you're still going to have to do your own pedaling. So if you're looking to get a little bit of exercise and to do it on a really sturdy quality bike, this is probably the right e-bike for you. But if you're looking to just kind of throttle around, mess around, and have fun, maybe this bike is not going to be the easiest way for you to do that.